In this video, I will be discussing with you which movies don't need sequels. Hey, it's me AP and welcome back to another video. So movies that don't need sequels, there's plenty of them and there's plenty of movies that have had sequels that were not great. I'm talking mainly about Dumb and Dumber 2, that was pretty bad. But there are loads of movies and I think some movies work great as a one and done movie, but some do require a sequel. But for those, I thought this would be a fun video to do, just to talk about movies that I don't think need sequels. So, first up is Galaxy Quest, the sci-fi spoof comedy movie. I love this movie. I think Galaxy Quest is, you can have your Spaceballs movies and Galaxy Quest is just miles ahead of them spoof movies. Obviously, they're both very, very different in a way, but for me, Galaxy Quest is such a great movie. Great cast, Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, the late great Alan Rickman. I don't think, for me, why this movie doesn't need a sequel is because, first of all, you couldn't have the likes of Alan Rickman coming back. I think that would be such a shame because his character is so a part of this movie. He's part of the main cast. He's one of the the main star. I would say, aside Tim Allen and Sigourney Weaver, it's them three who are the main trio within this movie. And I don't think this movie needs anything else within its universe. I mean, you don't need. It's told a story. The story is, it's this TV show, and it got cancelled, and then they're doing Comic-Con appearances, and then a real bunch of aliens sort of take them onto their ship. They think it's a TV show at first, and then they realise that it's not a TV show. That's the story of Galaxy Quest. If you'd done anything else now, it would be Galaxy Quest 2, the return of the team, or whatever you want to call it. And so what happens? So they do the exact same thing again, and I'm sure, you can say, you could think of a totally brand new story, but it was just such a unique story, like a very meta type story as well. And I don't think they can really repeat that. And I think it would be a shame because that is such a beloved sort of a cult movie in a way. I don't think adding a second movie to the franchise of Galaxy Quest would be great. You can maybe do a spin-off, like a reboot or a reboot TV show maybe. I don't think it would be great. It wouldn't be something I would want to watch personally, but I think that would be the only sort of extra bit of life Galaxy Quest could have at this point in time. I don't think adding a sequel would do it any justice, and I think it's a movie that does not require a sequel. Next up is Back to the Future Part 3. The end of the perfect trilogy. You can't really say that a lot of times, There's tons of movies out there where they've had trilogies, but some have been, a bit boring, and maybe the story's just faded a bit in the last one. I think Back to the Future, the whole trilogy, is great. It follows, there's a story there. It's very much got its A to B of what the story wanted to be, and it's done it throughout all the trilogy of movies. I don't think they will ever do a Back to the Future movie. I think if anything, there might potentially be maybe like a reboot or something, but I don't think you'd have the same characters in. Maybe it would just be based on the DeLorean, maybe. I know the Cobra Kai creators most recently wanted to do something like that, and I think it would be okay. I wouldn't want to see anything with Marty and Doc. I think just leave them there. I think leave this trilogy to be its own thing and don't touch it, because Back to the Future Part 3 is, for me, it's the sign off for these characters that you get to know of this trilogy, but you really adore these characters, and they're likable characters. It's hard to say that with some movies, to find likable characters, but Doc and Marty are likable characters, and I think that's why it was such a perfect send off. The DeLorean getting destroyed in the end. But, they were all happy. They all had the happy endings, really, as well, at the end of the story. So, for me, it would be a sequel too many if they made a part 4 to the Back to the Future franchise. Next up is the Rise of Skywalker, the last in the Skywalker saga of movies, episode 9 of the Star Wars movies as well. You know, are they ever going to do an episode 10? It's one of those things where you can debate it, and again and again and again. I think we are at some point in history going to see some sort of spin-off with the character Rey. I think it's inevitable that they'll do something there. I know they said it was the end of the Skywalker saga, but really, I mean, the Skywalker saga could be put into that, the capsule of saying it's like Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker's story. But next up, this is the Rey Skywalker saga. It could be done like that. So I think inevitably there's going to be some sort of spin-off, whether it's an episode 10 or it's just a new franchise of movies like Rey Skywalker episode 1. It's hard to say, but I think really I wouldn't want to see any more to the saga of movies, really. So I wouldn't want to see an episode 10 of Star Wars. For that the reason being is I think we've seen everything we've had to see from this sort of style of movie. I want to see more Star Wars movies, don't get me wrong, I love Star Wars, I want to see more Star Wars movies, but the sort of the good versus evil, the dark side versus the light, it has been done too many times, and I think within this story now, if you do an episode 10, I think you can't do it without having, Yoda, Luke Skywalker, Chewbacca, the Millennium Falcon. You can't not have them sort of characters or spaceships or whatever story elements from them previous stories in it. I think you would need to have them, and I think it would just be making it more stale. I enjoyed The Rise of Skywalker for what it was. I thought it was a good movie at the time. I've since rewatched it and I didn't feel it was as good as I initially thought. I thought it wasn't bad, but it wasn't the greatest movie and it wasn't the greatest send-off, really. I think it was good enough, but I mean, that's a story for a different day, I suppose. But I think adding an extra, an episode 10 to this story, you'd be reintroducing new characters as well. It would just feel just another rehash. And I think a lot of people felt that with the new sequels, the new trilogy. They felt it was a rehash of what was done previously. And a lot of people weren't happy with that, and probably that's why it wasn't, it was financially successful, but in regards to the Star Wars fan base, it probably wasn't as beloved as what come previously. As I think any trilogy, any sequels to the original trilogy were just always doomed to fail because people love their movies so much, and I think it's such a massive fan base and a diverse fan base. People, I don't know, I think people, whatever you put out, I think they will not like it because it's not like the originals, and that's why I never want to see any more Star Wars movies in the main franchise. The next movie on the list is Drive, the Ryan Gosling movie from the 2010s of movies, I believe. I thought it was a great, gritty movie. Bryan Cranston stars in this movie as well, and the Hellboy guy, I don't know his name, the big guy who is Hellboy from the original Hellboy movies. But great story. It's Ryan Gosling plays like this stunt rider slash like garage man, mechanic. That's the word I was looking for. And he gets involved with this lady, and then basically Poe Dameron from Star Wars, like Oscar Isaac, his character gets in some trouble, and then Ryan Gosling gets drawn into all this chaos and trouble, and some fantastic action scenes got me into synthwave. This movie starts off with the song by Kavinsky, and really for me it's sort of this movie for me started the synthwave into music, synthwave music into movies. If you're not into synthwave or you don't know what synthwave is, it's a genre of music, but it was really incorporated throughout this soundtrack, and really the soundtrack was a synthwave varied artist all thrown into one pot album. And I thought the elements of synthwave really made this movie, but also the story and the grittiness and the realism to the story as well made it such a good movie. So For me, Drive is a great movie, but it's a great movie that doesn't need a sequel. I think it works alone. It's very, like when you say something like Heat or like Goodfellas, something that works on its own. I think Drive has got that. It's a movie that works individually, and I don't think it needs a sequel at any point. So the final movie I want to talk about today on the movies I don't ever want to see a sequel of is Logan. The last of, well, they say last, but I'm sure they would love to get Hugh Jackman back, but I think it will be his last. His last portrayal of the character Wolverine, Logan, in the X-Men franchise of movies. He'd done 3 solo movies, and I thought the last 2 were pretty good. I enjoyed the Wolverine. But Logan is a one. I've talked about this in a previous video. I initially watched this movie. I didn't really care for it that much. I thought, for me, it wasn't the type of movie I wanted to see. I was expecting, X-Men spandex, sort of, the superhero type movie. And it's not that type of movie. It's definitely not your average superhero movie. It's a very different movie. It's, it's a send off to a beloved character. It's a send off to a character we spent like 20 years with exploring in different movies, different X-Men movies. And it's the best send-off, I think, for any character I've ever seen. I think it's just so real and so emotional as well to see this character in his final hours, in his final moments of his life. And when you've watched him over the years in different movies, and you know his character, you know his history, and you just see him, he's got, this character, he's got a lot of baggage. He's got a lot of baggage, Wolverine. And by the end, you can see it. He's holding the weight of the world on his back, and he's got a lot of he's caring for Professor X still, who's obviously suffering from sort of like an Alzheimer's type, psychic Alzheimer's, super Alzheimer's, if you like. And he's got a lot of baggage. And then he's looking after this kid, who is his clone, his daughter, and you feel the pain. You feel the pain throughout his life, and in watching this movie, and it's a redemption to help his daughter and help her get to this Eden-like place where she can be free and where she can be safe. And he wants to get her there, but there's a lot of evil. Evil's probably not the right word, but like I said, baggage. He's got a lot of baggage, Wolverine, and throughout the story, you see him sort of unloading that baggage till the end, till his death. And I think it's such a heartwarming movie, and especially the end scene when he dies. I think you don't need to do anything else now with this character. Fair enough, reboot Wolverine in the MCU moving forward, but don't do any more with Hugh Jackman's version of Wolverine. Let that character. It's had its time now. He's had his time. He's had his perfect send off. It doesn't need any more to the franchise of Wolverine Hugh Jackman movies. If you enjoyed this video today, please do give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more movie related videos. And please do click on the notification bell as well. And if you want to support this channel even more so, please do check out the Amazon affiliate links below. If you click on them links and buy something through them, I get a small percentage of that money. It goes to supporting me and my channel to grow more and to create more content for yourself. So I hope you enjoyed this video today on movies that don't need sequels, and I'd love to find out what your ideas, your thoughts are on what movies don't need sequels to you, and would you pick any from this list today of movies? I think, as I said, there's plenty of movies out there that definitely have had sequels that they shouldn't have been made. But there's some movies there that are maybe just talks about sequels, and maybe you feel like it should never be like a sequel to a certain film that you really cherish should never be made. So let me know what films are on your list, and thank you very much for watching this video.